Good morning students and welcome back to Alchemy online classes. Students, in our previous class we have learned that the British were not far behind in extending trade in India like their competitor. In 1600, the English East India Company was formed after Queen Elizabeth I's order, and the company brought goods from east and selling them at high cost in the European markets. Soon, in the year 1612, they established their first factory at Surat. After that, in the year 1615, Sir Thomas Roy approached Emperor Jahangir to get rights for the company. After Emperor granted many permission to company, as a result they set up many factories to other places like Ahmedabad, Agra, Bharuch, Masulipatam. Now students, tell me that do you think that Jahangir signing trading with British, whether this was a correct decision or it was a bad one, and why? According to me, it was a bad decision because after that British set up several factories, as we learned, in Surat, Ahmedabad, Agra, Masulipatam and Bharuch and many other places in India. They received Madras from a ruler in 1639 and fulfilled it. This establishment was named Fort St. George. The East India Company established a trading center in Calcutta. Madras, Bombay and Calcutta became their headquarters of the British Empire. So, because of Emperor Jahangir's want decision, British was started ruling in India. They were thinking that we will come and trade with India and later we will go. But they have seen that people are not able to speak up against their emperor, and Jahangir has given them permission to trade with other countries, though they have included many parts of India under their ruler. So they were started ruling, and because of this, the public of India was forcefully living under the British rule. When British were ruling India, at that time they have established many factories in India and they were ruling India, but there were things that happened good with us, that was that they have established many factories. Because of these factories, people come to know about other resources of earning livelihood. In earlier India, the whole family is dependent on agriculture. 1 or 2 persons of the family were working in their farms, and that farm also that is not owned by them, that is given on rent by their emperor. So they have to give the lagan, which we know, to their king. So after British rule, they came to know, except farming, there are several businesses and job opportunities for us. When British established many factories in India, they have appointed many people from India also, and they have given them livelihood. So they came to know that all the men of the family is not required in agriculture. If one will do farming, the other can do other work also in farming. Except farming, they can get job anywhere else, or they can study and do more things. So India was growing and India was come to know that there were further options to grow properly and to get the livelihood. So this was the good thing which happened in British rule. Now students, I am going to read I learned for my life from our course book, textbook, which is given on page number 6. The Europeans arrived, settled in India and established strong trade connections. The people of India should have been united from the beginning and stood against them. Why it is said, unity is strength. Unity is strength. As we learned many times, we heard that if you try to break a piece of wooden stick, you can easily break it. But if you try to break a bundle of wooden stick, you can't do it, because it is very hard, very difficult to break a bundle, because they are united with each other. Like that, earlier British has tried many times to break Indian peoples. With the help of our own emperors, Mughal emperors and also Indian kings. But Indian peoples strongly stand together against British rule, and we have seen that after fighting for 200 years, British rule in India for 200 years. So we have to struggle very long, and after that also with our unity we got the freedom against British rule, and India became a freedom country. So this is the power of unity. Now come to our extend session. How did the British emerge as a winner in the race to control the trade in India? Find out about the wars fought between British and the French. So student, we have learned that Portuguese, Dutch and French all were trying to get a control over India for trading. But we are seeing that British as a winner got a control on Indian trading. How? Because when they were trying to get control, Dutch, Portuguese and French, British was ruling many places in India. They were starting their business in many places of India, and at the end they have 9 years long fight with France from the year 1754 to the year 1763. The war between the French and the British was continued for trading in India, and at the end British won the battle, and French have to move out from India, and British were trading in India. Students, now come to I observe section. Find out about the raw material and other products that attracted the Europeans to India and make a list. So what are that raw materials and other products? First, gold, spices, pearl, silk clothes, and earlier India was known as agriculture country of agriculture and farming. So rice, wheat and pulses, these all were famous of India. These all things are easily available in India. So that things attracted Europeans to come to India. This was the second reason why they came to India, because they want to trading for these all things with India. Now our last topic I link. Find out more about Vasco da Gama and his exploration to India. How did he play an important role in establishing the Portuguese rule in India? As we all know that the first person who discovered the sea route from Europe to India was Vasco da Gama. He came to India and established his first set up in Calicut. After that, many Portuguese came to India in search of good quality spices because Vasco da Gama was knowing that India is famous for its spices, and for the same reason many Portuguese came to India and they established their many factories and setups in India. So because of Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese came to rule in India because he was the base person who established his foothold in India. So students, in this chapter we have learned that Vasco da Gama was the first person who discovered the sea route from Europe to India. After that, many Portuguese came to India for trading with India for its spices. After Portuguese, Dutch attacked on them. Earlier, Dutch was trading with Indonesia, and later he started trading with India also, and they attacked and Portuguese have to leave this country. Later, French came and they established their first French East India Company in the year 1664. They established their many factories and set up at many places. But when Dutch and French were trying to establish themselves properly in India, British were also ruling in many places in India. So after that, all Dutch, Portuguese and French have to move, and Britishers won this battle against all these countries, and he started his trading with India. Later, Britishers came to know that they can rule India, so they applied the policy of divide and rule. But because of this policy, they rule India for 200 years. But normal Indian peoples and some freedom fighters has given power to common people that they can be live in free India. We want freedom, and because of their struggle, Britishers also have to move from India after 200 years. So student, here in this chapter we learn all about this. Now you have to complete exercise 1.4 and 1.5 from your workbook.